What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN, USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I need to go to bed, man. I'm trying to. It's a late night for me right now. I don't normally make videos this late at night, but I haven't made an XCN video all day, and I meant to. I just didn't have time. We did talk about it. We probably gave XCN more attention than any other altcoin in the live stream that I did earlier today. So hopefully you guys got a little lick of that. But that was more of a long-term or kind of like a general perspective on it. It wasn't really like short-term stuff. You know, here we are. Let's look at the short term. And the purpose of this video, you guys, if it's okay with you, I'd like to go in depth and explain again as to why we are expecting a 26 to 32 cent price for this. In case there's anybody from the live stream who's watching this and this is the first time they've ever heard of XCN or seen me talk about it, which I think would be weird because I talk about it so much, but you never know, especially getting a all-time high live stream for Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. We got the 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. All the people taking the pictures of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever on the decimals there as well. I want to go over that and reiterate because it seems like the morale is down. Bitcoin's at new all-time highs. Ethereum's is pressing new all-time highs. Why is XCN not doing anything? Patience, my friends, patience. Absolute patience is what pays in this game, okay? You got to be patient. 1.4 cents now, 54 minutes left in this 1 hour time frame. Looking at the short-term stuff, on the RSI, you are at an area where you found resistance the last couple of times, kind of a flat top, and we like that. Not getting overbought, we don't like that. Rejecting on the stochastics as well, and the MACD is basically useless, so we're not even going to worry about that. It looks good right now, scooping the zero, but you looked good breaking above the zero here, and you didn't do anything with it. You know, like it's useless. It's basically useless, and that tends to happen in the shorter term time frames, especially when you're moving sideways. So overall, I would think that we are at a relative high point, but sometimes third time is the charm, and this resistance point is getting weaker with each attempt that we have. So if we do come back up here, regardless of what happens, if we go lower down here or if we just find a slightly higher low, whatever it is, whenever we come back up to this area of about 1.42 cents, we should be breaking through it. And then potentially that could send us up to prices that are above 1.5 cents, which would be pretty fantastic because we get above 1.5 cents, it's on, you guys, it's on. But looking at the 1 hour stuff, I'm not too impressed with the price right here. Yeah, we moved up a little bit, and that's nice. But can we get this with some volume on it? Let's see. That's just me patting my cat. I don't know how many people have cats that like to be patted. That's what some people have said. They're like, you pat your cats? Of course I pat my cats, dude. I pat them like dogs. They love it. They love it. Oh, I don't know. I'm rough with them, man, but they love it. I like move them around. Whenever they were kittens, I would go for their bellies. You know, if you ever try to pet a cat's belly, they will scratch you. But I would pet their bellies all the time. And as kittens, they would get me. They'd get me. I'd have cut up wrists all the time. But I did that to desensitize them so that I can pet their bellies. And I love rubbing their bellies, man. They love it too. They will literally lay on the ground and roll over. They love it. You're such a good boy, Mufasa. He's my little crypto companion most of the time. Anyways, back to work, right? Volume. Not a whole lot of volume on this move up, and that's okay, right? That's kind of what I was expecting. A little bit of volume coming in here, though, relative to Coinbase. That's kind of interesting. Maybe some accumulation was going on. It kind of looks like a BART, like a bullish BART. But anyways, let's move on to the 4 hour time frame. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Imagine if every time I sneezed, I was letting one loose. I was cutting the cheese instead. 4 hour time frame. Cutting the cheese. That's a phrase that I haven't heard in such a long, like since I was 5. 1.4 cents right now. The RSI looks pretty good. And didn't we say that this exact thing would happen? I think we were calling for the RSI to go even a little bit lower, but a higher low nonetheless. Here we are. Maybe we are breaking out, you guys. Maybe we are moving higher. I don't know. Ethereum's bullish, Bitcoin's bullish, crypto's bullish. I mean, if we're in the right environment for it. You're turning things around here at the low. I don't mind the RSI. It gives me hope. But on that note, let's take away some of that hope. We're at the same area that we found resistance throughout this whole range. So, you know, we could go a little, and we even look the same, right? Moving sideways, all before you went down each time and found a lower low. So just keep that in mind. Stochastics in the overbought zone, area to reject. The MACD on the 4 hour is basically worthless as well. So we don't really care. On the bright side, though, we are near a cross above the zero. Even though it's worthless and it's kind of been not helpful. It might be an indication that over the coming days, if not sometime next week, we should be crossing above the zero. We should be breaking out of this area and finally on our way to 2 cents and above. If you're bored with Onyx Coin, all I'm trying to say is have some patience. We're almost there. We are literally almost there. And I've heard a lot of people, man, I've probably heard more this week than I ever have of people telling me that they've sold their Onyx Coin for other things. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but in my experience as a crypto investor, this is my third bull cycle. If I was holding 5 coins, 10 coins, 3 coins, you best believe the one that pumps the most out of all those coins is the one that I sold to buy whatever coin's pumping right now, right in the exciting times, to buy whatever coin isn't being boring. That's the one that pumped the most, is the one that I sold. So anybody who's sold Onyx Coin, just understand you're setting yourself up, man. I think you're setting yourself up for some sad emotions, and that's okay, man. We've all been there. We'll be there again. It happens. It definitely happens to all of us. If you think it's the last time that'll happen to you, it's like stubbing your toe. It's gonna happen. I haven't stubbed my toe in a long time, so I'm hoping that I didn't just jinx myself. I don't know. I'm one of those people though. I don't know. I say one of those people as if this is a normal thing. I don't know if it's normal, but I will think about the thing that I don't want to happen to me, and I feel like it doesn't jinx myself. Like when I'm cutting vegetables or like cutting stuff with a knife, right? I think in my head, how terrible would this be if I cut my finger right now? Or like I literally envision that, and I say this all the time, and people are like, oh, you're jinxing yourself, you're gonna cut yourself. It's like, don't put that on me, first off. But secondly, I've never cut myself while prepping food. I've never cut myself with a knife because I'm always focused. I'm always focused on exactly how it would go wrong if it was to happen. I don't know. For a lot of people, I get that would mess you up, but for me, I feel like it helps me focus. So again, thinking about stubbing your toe. Hopefully, I don't stub my toe here. But thinking about it kind of makes me want to avoid it. Anyways, 1.4, and hopefully metaphorically avoiding stubbing your toe with selling this coin. Hopefully you're just holding, being patient, and waiting, because the good stuff's coming, you guys. Okay, looking at this here, taking a relative high from back on April 11th to the low that we had on June 22nd. The expected area, the primary target, would be about 3.4 cents to 4.4 cents. Okay. Onyx Coin is very fond of just demolishing that primary target and moving right up to the secondary zone, and that's okay. But do you understand, if we stop at 3.4 to 4.4 cents, that's totally fine. That's normal. It's not a problem. We can move up here with a certain high velocity, robustness, consolidate a little bit, and then continue to push higher. Just because we stop here doesn't mean that we're done. Ultimately, I think that Onyx Coin is going to go to this 7.5 to, let's even say, 14.6 cent area by the end of this month of August, and then press higher. Absolutely. We'll make sense out of all that in a second. With the 2272, typically you do go just above there. Typically you do go just above the 2272. From a high to a low here, that would put Onyx Coin, oh, come on, right at this one. Oh, come on. Right at, if I can get it right there, right at this 1272, right at about 8.2 cents, making sense out of that. Onyx Coin did top off here. When it topped off here, it was actually at a relative 2618, and the 2618 here is at about 9.8 cents. So 10 cents, 8.2 cents, anything and everything in between. I could see us stopping there by the end of August, if not higher. Ultimately, I believe we're going all the way up to about 26 to 32 cents. And the reason for that, if we take this here, this high here, to this low here, we've got our 1886 to 200 level there. And at this point, I'd like to explain why I think we're going there. Okay, so let's look at XCN to BTC. A lot of you have seen this part of the analysis before, but let's just get into it. Okay, thank you KuCoin for providing this, because I'd have to make my own chart, and whenever you make your own charts on TradingView, for some reason it doesn't let you logarithmic. You use the logarithmicize it, put it in log scale. But looking at it here, this is the XCN BTC chart. So one Onyx coin is worth this many Bitcoins. Okay. I don't know whenever they started using the E's. It used to not be like that. What's the E stand? Why? I'm drawing a blank. What's the E stand for? It's not exponent. It's what is it? Anyways, or maybe it is exponent actually. Yeah, because then it's the decimal. No, it is. Wow. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Anyways, so anybody who knows math is like, actually, bro, it is. It's the exponent. It's just the negative exponent. Anyways, to provide decimals. High to low here. No, that's not what we're doing. We're doing a high to low here. High to low here. Actually, let me explain it this way. I like to explain it this way because it makes more sense, all right? So if we're looking at OnyxCoin's whole existence, right, with this very long consolidation phase, we moved up, and now we're in this very long consolidation phase here. Not quite as long as this, but very long nonetheless versus Bitcoin, okay? When we did finally move up, whenever we broke out, notice within this phase where we stopped, where we found resistance. It was right here, kind of at the top, right at the shelf, right before we broke down, right at our last relative area of resistance. That's where we found resistance here. When we broke out, we didn't go, we didn't stop anywhere other than right here, and for a good reason, right? The reason why we stopped there is because if you're looking back at this whole drop, this very fast straight line of a drop, the only place that we stopped for more than a week, where we stopped here for about 5 weeks, that was this place right here. And we found resistance right at the base of that range. That's not a coincidence. Typically, you don't stop in areas that have no significance, right? Like here, where you found no price significance, here, where you found no price significance, here. You know what I mean? It's areas of significance. And we found resistance right at that base, right at the base of the zone, like pinpoint accurate, okay? My theory here is that when we move up, whenever we break out of this very long consolidation phase that we're in, mighty bull flag, when we break out of it, we're going to move up to our next base, which, again, you wouldn't stop here. You wouldn't stop here. The next base is right there, right about there, okay? Double bottom, bottom there, right in that zone there. So that's my expectation. That's where we're going to go. Now, that makes sense just from this one kind of point of view. But let's make sense out of it through multiple points of view, because maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe we stopped here coincidentally. So we're connecting the dots and building this theory off of a coincidence. But let's add to this coincidental statistic here, or the probabilities at least, right? What else might be a coincidence? Well, if we take this measure move here, if we're looking at this for what it is, I think that this itself could have been a bull flag. This whole thing might even be a bull flag, depending on how you want to look at it. But regardless, they have the same measurement and they have the same measure move from the bottom here, okay? You take this low to a high, you put that measure move right at the base. I'm not measuring it to this line. I'm putting this right at the base of this flag here. And wouldn't you know, can't you believe, I don't know why I can't talk, man. I'm like trying here, but I just can't. Maybe I got to stop trying. Wouldn't you know it that the measure move takes you essentially right there to that line, right there. Perfect. Right there. Couldn't be a coincidence, but let's see if we can find more. Right, from a high to a low, you also go right to that line that's at your 1886, your Fibonacci extension level, okay? Just because it's the 1886 doesn't mean we have to get there, but it is a significant level in itself. And let's see. I mean, from a high to a low, we've stopped at the 2272. We've even found some turbulence here at the 1886-200 level. It's not completely crazy to assume that that's the area that we're going to go to. Okay, especially because your measure move of the bull flag goes there. It's your prior area of significance here. Really, the only significance you have based off this drop, and then it's your 1886. So you've got 1, 2, 3 reasons, logical reasons in themselves why you might go to that area. Now you take the all-time high to the all-time low Fibonacci retracement, and you see that the 786 is the exact next area that you would go to, right? Because you've hit the 0.5. How many times, if you've been watching my channel for even a few months now, let alone over the past few years, if you've been watching this, you know that whenever you move up like this, you interact with the 0.5 of the 382, statistically speaking, you're more likely to pass through the golden ratio and go all the way up to your 786. Okay, maybe we stop at the golden ratio, and we're going to go over that in a second too, but just, again, look at the significance that just surrounds this exact area. You've got 4 different levels of significance that just go right there. And I'm kind of curious. I just wonder. Let's see. High to low. Your 1. What is that? Okay, no. That's your 2618. Okay, they're overlapping so much. I did say that we'd come down too. And I was like, I don't think OnyxCoin's going to drop. I just think Bitcoin's going to pump. And that's exactly what happened. I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so getting away from this though. Okay. Taking away all the chicken scratch. This is where I assume XCN to BTC will go, at least, at a minimum, okay? We put this high to low here. That's the 1886. Let's put another level on there, the golden ratio. Okay, it wouldn't make sense to stop here because you didn't stop here at all. You didn't stop here at all. I think the only other area that would make sense to stop if it wasn't the 1886 would be up here. That'd be the only other place that makes sense. But that in itself doesn't really make sense because it's uncommon to stop at the 1272 to the 1414 right in between. You'd either stop at the 1272 or just above the 1414. At this rate, it would make more sense to stop at the 1272, which again just doesn't make sense because here we are in this large consolidation phase after a move like this, and we're going to see that. I don't know. I don't think so. That doesn't make sense to me, but maybe we'll run with it. We'll run with it. Okay. Pessimistic outcomes. Not even realistic, even on a conservative estimate, but it is conservative at the golden ratio. Why would we stop here? Realistic outcome. To me, 1886 the realistic outcome. Okay. We're going to do golden, or we're going to do the Google calculator right now and calculate this stuff. All right. What's the group doing here? Chilling. Oh, is Ethereum moving through its wall? It might be, because right here, let's see. I think it's moving through its wall. We're going to see it push up another $100 probably. Probably. Okay. Google calculator. We're doing XCN to BTC. The target that I think we're going to is all the way up here at about 501872. Okay. 501872. We multiply that by the price of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's at this price, 123K. XCN to BTC is not here. By the time XCN to BTC grows here, I would assume Bitcoin too is growing. It's certainly not going to be moving sideways. It's certainly not going to move down. XCN's not going to move up if that happens, right? So Bitcoin's probably going to grow too. Where's it going to be? I don't know. All I know is it's going to be at a higher price than this, 123.3K. Okay, so let's multiply that by 123.3 thousand. Something like that, okay? That's where we are right now. That would imply then that OnyxCoin is above. Did I do the right amount of zeros? Yeah, 23 cents. 23 cents, okay. 23 cents or lower, in my opinion, is a joke. But let's try to make sense out of that joke. Let's take a different target here. Let's go to 6072683. And we have to be specific because these are very large decimals and large numbers too. We have to be specific. Even the most pessimistic outcome that I could come up with based on the fibs, based on the price action, based off of any kind of logic that we could have, which to me this isn't logical, but the most logic that we could have on a pessimistic, this is genuinely pessimistic, not conservative, in my opinion. Even at the most pessimistic level, we do the same practice. We multiply by 123K. 123.3K. Right? If Bitcoin was at this price, which it won't be, if XCN to BTC only grows this much, BTC will likely grow as well. So it will likely only be at a higher price. This would imply that this price, anything below this price we're about to calculate, is literally insane to expect. Okay, you're literally dumb. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. No offense. So that's a 9-cent price. XCN at a bare, most pessimistic minimum would at least go to 9 cents. But we look at the USD pair, it really wouldn't make sense to stop at 9 cents, would it? It'd make a lot more sense to go at least up to 10 cents and a little bit above there, okay? But then again, right, then we're getting to, and XCN, by the time it grows, Bitcoin wouldn't be at this price anyway. So let's run with this idea still. Let's take that same number and multiply it by a price that Bitcoin will be at. I think Bitcoin will be above 140K by the time XCN tops off, but let's still do 140K. Let's do 140. All right, this to me is a more realistic, pessimistic outcome. Is that right? Yeah, that's about 10.1 cents. So realistic, pessimistic outcome right there. I don't believe that XCN will top off when Bitcoin's at 140K. I really do think that Bitcoin will be at higher prices, but still 140K, that's a little bit more conservative. Let's say Bitcoin's at 160K by the time XCN tops off. It's 11.6 cents, right? So 10 cents, 11.6 cents, we're making sense out of these areas here. Anything from, 9 cents is a joke. 10.7 cents, okay, a little bit above there. 11.6 cents, okay, right there. Yeah, we can see that. That, on a pessimistic level, makes sense. So at the most pessimistic that we can be, to where it's not laughable insanity, XCN will see a 7x to an 8x endeavor, okay? Are you on the same page, right? Are we on the same page here? Let's bump it up a notch, okay? I don't even want to mess with this high here because obviously it's going to be just a little bit higher than where we are on these expectations. And to me, it wouldn't make sense to stop here. Right, just because it's that high, I respect the fibs more than that, and it doesn't make sense to me that we'd stop there. But maybe we do, but no, we've already done the math. Cool. If you don't, if you want to do it yourself, you can. Just assume that we'd go up a little bit higher, maybe to 15 cents. I don't know. XCN BTC 12, so it'd be 5 zeros, 124857. Let's do that. 124857. Is that what it was? 124857, yeah. Multiply that. I'm not going to go through all the multiplications. I don't want to multiply it by this price because, again, Bitcoin's going to be at a higher price. Let's multiply it by 140K. 140K there. That's a 17-cent price. So, again, this price wouldn't really make sense at all. But by the way of the fibs, it's kind of logical. So 17 cents. A little bit above the golden ratio. I could see that happening. Okay. What about 160K? Let alone if they top off at the same time, if Bitcoin goes to 180K, that these targets are only higher. 20 cents, okay. Right? These are still, I think, conservative targets and even unrealistically conservative targets. But now we're talking about prices that are at a 12x to a 14x, right? Now we're talking about over 10x moves, and we're still not even at a point of logic. We're stopping at an area that doesn't make sense at all. Now let's go to the one place that makes sense. The actual place, in my opinion, other than this, really, that makes the most sense. And has the most connected points of relevance whenever it comes to Fibonacci extensions, retracements, bull flag measure moves, and then congruence with the price, the USD price to the BTC price. And you'll see it, right? It's 5 zeros, 1872, right? Is that what it is? 1872. I've done this enough times, I should know. 1872. We multiply that by 140K. That's a 26-cent price, which coincidentally is the minimum level that I would expect. We take this again. We multiply by, let's say, 100 and... I want to do 160. Let's just do 160. 160. That's a 30-cent price. And it's pretty close to the top end of this range. Right? To me, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see, but to me, first off, it's laughable to consider prices anywhere below 11 cents by the end of this next move, which will likely happen by the end of September, okay? It's laughable. I think it's straight depressing to even consider prices at 11 cents or lower. And that from here is a 7x to an 8x move. Okay? Minimum. Absolutely minimum. Not realistic. Pessimistic. But if you want to call it realistic, okay. Maybe it's realistic. This area doesn't make sense, but it makes sense off of a golden ratio area. You know, the next step higher would be something from a 12x to a 14x move. Okay, but not good enough, no. The logical area, and this is not, people think I'm a moon boy. If I was a moon boy, we're going to all-time highs. That's what we're going to go all the way up to all-time highs, you guys. You know, XCN is going to be worth a $10 billion market cap, and we're not stopping for anything less, you know. It's going to happen right now. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it'll go to, before I eat my words on that, maybe it will be at a $10 billion market cap. Let me see. 482. I mean, maybe it will actually be at a $10 billion market cap, actually, because a 20x would be pretty damn close. We're not going to quite get there, but you know, I could take it a step further. If I wanted to be a moon boy, I could be a moon boy. This is not moon boy. This is just using analysis. The reason, and people think, again, they think that I'm bullish on XCN, therefore this price prediction is the result of that. But it's the opposite. The price predictions, the charts, are what make me bullish on XCN, right? If I saw this for Ethereum, for XRP, for whatever, and I got behind the fundamentals the same way that I'm behind the fundamentals on XCN, I would have no problem calling for these gains. But 18x, 19x to a 21x, that's the expectation. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. 26 to 32 cents. It's inevitable. It's coming. It's Thanos. It's going to come all over the place. Take care. Bye-bye.